Hey everybody, just Jesse here, welcoming you back to my garage, my cave of accountability, if you must. I've got a couple couches in here, and I always have an open seat for you on your trek for accountability. So today is May 6th. It's the year 2020. It's a Wednesday. This year is flying by. A lot of people are preoccupied. Their minds are elsewhere. They're either afraid, they're hopeful, or they're just trying to plan for the future. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about Matthew 20, verses 1 through 16. The whole chapter is really good, and I really recommend you reading it. But 1 through 16 talks about a parable where leaders have to focus on God's ability and not their own. So this parable is a landowner who owns a vineyard and his workers. So early in the morning, he goes outside and sees some workers that are up and moving around, and he asks them, "Hey, can you guys get started on work for today?" And so they do. They agree, and they agree on the day's wage of denarius or a denarius, depending on how you want to say it, or maybe I'm saying it wrong. You guys can let me know. But they get to work. So then about noon, after a few hours, the landowner goes back into the area where workers can be picked up, and sees more workers standing around and says, "Hey, do you guys want to work? I'll put you to work for a day's wage," which is again a denarius. So they go to work. About 3 o'clock he does the same. About 5 o'clock he does the same. So then the story says that in the evening time, which the story kind of gives a guesstimate is about 6 o'clock. When that time comes around, the landowner tells the boss, the foreman, "Hey, go gather everybody up and we'll pay them their day's wages and we'll start again tomorrow." So the foreman does that. Everybody gets a denarius. Everybody gets a full day's wage, even the dudes that only worked an hour. And that was the problem that this story showed. The thing that I think that this story should be ingrained into every leader's mind so that they can think back on it often is that the story describes God's grace. It shows the landowner and his vineyard workers and what you get when you take your eyes off of God just for a moment. That's exactly how the workers focused. So their eyes were off of God and on themselves. The story is trying to show that Jesus is attempting to correct wrong attitudes or bad attitudes, as we all have. I know I'm guilty of that just as much as anybody. But Jesus is addressing 4 things. The first thing he's addressing is self-absorption. How often do we complain about things being unfair? I know I hear at least once or twice a day how something's not fair. We focus on our work instead of God's work. The second thing that Jesus is addressing here is comparison. Like, how often do we neglect God's grace because we are preoccupied by the status of other people? Everybody else has got something cooler, or their house is bigger, they got better toys, they got a pool, they got whatever. Our focus isn't on God's grace. We're preoccupied by their status. The third thing that Jesus addresses is presumption. We forget that every single blessing is a gift. Every single blessing. We assume too much when it comes to rewards. We think that we should get everything and have to do nothing or very little. That's the way humans are, and I know that that's how I've looked at a lot of things in my life. Lastly, Jesus is addressing distortion. As we are judging others as worthy or unworthy, we forget the entire kingdom, the whole thing, God's kingdom, is built on grace. So the parable is ended by the landowner saying, "So the last will be first and the first will be last." Basically, he says to the workers, the guys who came in at 5 o'clock, they agreed to a full day's wage just like you did. And it's my money, I agreed to that wage with them. Who are you to say what I can and can't do with my money? So let's not forget that the first will be last and the last will be first, but not in the fact that things are unfair, but in the fact that we're called to so much more. We're supposed to be people of integrity. When we say we do things, we should do it with a happy and open heart. And the last thing I want to send out there to you guys, not to forget, is that Jesus didn't even come here to be served. He's the one that ultimately would deserve to be served, but he didn't. He came here to die. He gave his life as a ransom for many. So let's just remember that today. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me on my accountability trek. If you think that this message needs to get out to somebody, if they're having an issue or you can see that they're struggling, go ahead and share it with them. Other than that, if you liked what I'm talking about today, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that the bell on the page so that you can get my videos every day if you like what I have to say and what I've learned on my accountability trek. If you guys need help with accountability, please reach out to me. I am more than happy to help you be accountable. I'll do my best, and we can go through this trek together. So we want to go far, so that means we need to have as many people as possible helping us out. We don't want to go fast. We can go fast, we can go alone, but we want to go far with everybody else. So, all right, guys, I hope you have a great day today, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time. Well, maybe same time. I'll get a video out to you guys, but definitely same place, my accountability cave. So, all right, see you guys.